When the headline video came out for FM23, I looked at it several times and I really wasn't that impressed because many of the things that everyone was shouting about weren't actually featuring. But I was interested in, were the graphics improved, and would that be a good selling point? Was this going to make the game more enjoyable? Well, I was very pleasantly surprised. So let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to FM with Old Man Phil. And FM23 has finally arrived. And I've spent a day or so just going through it, looking for things that are new, looking for things that are different. And whilst there are one or two cosmetic changes which look good in the overall interface, I can't really see much that is that much improved. So if we go through the screens, then we can see the home screen, the landing page is very much the same. The inbox is much the same, although there are a couple of emails that do appear that you haven't seen before, such as when you're playing a game, you'll get the board expectation and the supporter expectations, and you can see that both are expecting a defeat here. Although the supporters are anticipating being spoiled by some exciting attacking football and hoping to see Aaron Hickey make his debut and plenty of entertaining football. Of course, that's what the fans are going to want. And it's exactly the same for the board. They're hoping to see exactly the same thing. But the board are saying they want to see possession football being the chosen strategy. They're not going to see that because that's not how I've set the team up. But we're just playing around with Brentford for a day or so to see what happens. And go to the squad page, nothing has changed really. And we do have this new page, the squad planner. And whilst it looks pretty, it's just really moving everything into one place in terms of recruitment. And there are lots of little things that you can play with. And if, for example, if I see, I'm a bit light at right wing, so we can create a new focus from here. Look for a right winger. We'll go transfer and loan. We want him to be a fairly decent player. Age-wise, we have to keep the board happy, so we can adjust the ages. I'll probably go like maybe 18 to 29. And when you click on which area, it will tell you. We have the most scouts with extensive knowledge of England, so we'll go region, and we can go to Europe, UK and Ireland and confirm that. We'll make it a top priority because we need one almost immediately, and I'll leave it to the scouting pool for now, although you can assign a scout and an analyst to look for. So they will then go ahead and look for players who can play on the right wing. Whether it's an improvement, whether I will use it too much, is yet to be seen. It did seem to make that process of identifying weaknesses in the team and then immediately being able to go and set an assignment to scout for that area. It did seem to make that fairly simple, but we shall see if it's going to be something that will be very useful. Dynamics page is very, very much the same. The data hub is the same. The staff page is exactly the same. Training also exactly the same. Nothing really has changed there. And the medical center, nothing has changed there. And competitions page is exactly the same, and your scouting page looks a bit different in terms of its presentation, but it's really just the same. Transfers page the same, club info is the same. Your club vision page is a slight change, and it does now introduce this supporters page. The supporters group will have some sort of influence. Here at Brentford, they have a moderate influence on the board. It tells you how many followers, the different types of followers that you have, and what their expectations are for the coming years. And whether that will be a good thing, I don't know. We shall have to wait and see. Or will that just become like the social media pages where you were given supporter feedback, which just everybody just ignores now? Finance pages just the same. The development center is exactly the same. Where we have a little bit of a changes in the tactics screen and out of possession, there are a number of new things added. It just tells you now whether you're playing a low block, a mid block, a high press, to make that much simpler for people to understand how that works. Everything else looks pretty much the same. I have been playing a mid block with Brentford here just to try it out. And it gives you one or two more options. The offside trap has gone. You have a pressing trap, whether you want to trap them inside or outside. It kind of like just replaces force inside and force outside. And cross engagement, stop crosses or invite crosses. I've just left those blank for the moment. I'm just experimenting. We'll see as time goes by what effect that has. And then the defensive line, do you want them to step up, where the defenders will press typically higher up the pitch in order to compact the midfield space? Or do you want them to drop off more and defend more when there is an attacking threat? But there is a negative to that, in that you're going to give them a little bit more space outside the penalty area. Now, traditionally, when you are playing a low block, then what you want your central defenders to do and your defensive midfielders to do is to position themselves so that the shots are going through the middle towards the goalkeeper, rather than giving them the space to shoot towards the corners. Now, whether that will be effective in FM, I don't know. We shall see as we go through our saves, and we'll try and work out what works best and what doesn't. But the thing for me that I really was interested in, when everything else that I was asking for, begging for, didn't seem to be featuring this year, especially the overview of the set pieces, which is exactly the same, is the match engine any different? And so I think now it's time to go and have a look at the animations, the graphics that you'll see on screen as the game plays out. Does it make the game more enjoyable? Well, let's go and play a friendly game and see if it has made any difference. And so straight from the kickoff, I was very, very impressed with how Ben Mee stood on the ball, had a look around before distributing it to the fullback. And now Hickey at fullback, he just kept going forward. His dribbling looked very, very good. A much, much improved dribbling style. The movement of the player was very much improved, the ball bobbling about, and the low cross into the box was buried. We were 1-0 up within a few seconds, and the game we should have won. But I was, right from the beginning, quite impressed with how the graphics looked, and it looks a lot smoother, and the movement of the players, and I was particularly impressed with the goalkeeper movement and the goalkeeper shape that he takes on when attempting to make saves. And heading seems to be much improved, and as the corner swung in, you can see the flight of the ball is a lot better when heading clear, and heading in general looks to be a lot better, and passing the ball seems to be a lot slicker and a lot smoother. And one of the things that you do have to be wary of is that because passing is much improved, ball control is actually really reflected in the game, and the amount of turnovers you get when players fail to control the ball properly is quite horrific. So you do need to be careful about that. But for me, the passing looks a lot better. Movement of the players looks a lot better, and I think they've done something with decisions as an attribute, because players seem to be making better or worse decisions than they were last year. And one of the things that happened there was that from an attacking set piece, you do need to be careful with who you place back when in order to defend a counterattack, because one of my players immediately ran to the center of the pitch while the opposition were running past him. Whether that's a bug or not, or just the fact that you have to be careful when positioning players to defend from attacking corners, be very wary of that. But dribbling looks good as here, and long range shots look absolutely splendid, and that was a lovely goal by De Silva. And the way the ball interacts with the goal, the back of the net, looks a lot more pleasant to me, a lot more realistic to me this season. I was actually very impressed with the graphics. As I said, heading looks a lot better. Header on there finds Umbuemo. And again, the decision making was poor there and finishing was poor there. I think when signing players, you've got to pay much more attention to their level of decision making and composure. And the ball is turned over a great deal because ball control is not particularly good and something that you might have to work on in training. But overall, the movement of the players looks very, very good. And it looks a lot more helter-skelter than in previous years. There's a lot more things going on the pitch, and it does seem like the game is a lot more chaotic, which it is in real life, which then leads to more mistakes. And there are many, many more mistakes made in real-life football than were actually made in Football Manager. And you can see there's an example there of poor ball control, and the ball was turned over. But we do win it back here, and again, it's a poor first touch, and we get through on goal. And the goalkeeper's shape there was good when he made the save. I am very, very impressed with what they've done with the graphics. It seems to be a vast improvement on FM22, and heading is better, goalkeeping is better. The whole thing looks a lot better to me, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a great plus point for me. As a streamer, it might make games more interesting for people to look at, which had almost become very samey in what happens on the pitch from game to game in previous years. Here, it looks like more dynamic things are happening, and I do believe they might have made more of how the attributes play out. Penalty taking looks really good this year. Goalkeeper movement and the way the ball enters the net looks much improved. And so overall, I think that the graphics look hugely better than they did last year. And so my overall impression of what they've done with the graphics is that it is very, very good indeed. I think that they've improved goalkeeping, they've improved the passing, they've improved ball control, decision making. They all show a lot more now on the field of play than in previous years. And I think these are big improvements. And I think it's going to make my experience of playing the game, and then possibly you who are following me, your experience of the gameplay a lot better. And I'm really hopeful that this is the start of something that they're going to work on from year to year, getting it better and better and better. Now is a good time. Graphic quality is improving, as we know, in all the games world, and it's about time that Football Manager actually kept pace with that. I think we're seeing a start to that in FM23. So whilst much of the game is pretty much the same for me, there isn't really any big advancements. I was really so hoping set pieces would have a major overhaul. But in terms of the 3D graphics, there has been a huge improvement, and I'm happy to say that. And let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree. And those of you who already have downloaded the game, do you think that there's an improvement in the graphics? Do you think there's an improvement in the game overall? I don't think the overall improvement of the game is there, but I do think that there is an improvement in the 3D game engine. So that's it for this short video. I will be beginning a beta save, and I will probably be with West Ham, and we'll start that from Monday, and we'll do daily videos Monday to Friday on that and see how we get on with West Ham. It will be a time for fun experimenting. I want to play with the tactics and see, especially that low block, and see if that makes any difference. If you're new to the channel, why not subscribe, like, watch and comment, help the channel to grow, help us to support that very worthwhile cause you can see scrolling above. And so all that remains to be said now is we'll see you on Monday for the West Ham beta save.